All right, welcome back. I'm ready to get started on some weaving. So, like I said in the previous video, we're going to start our weaving off by learning the twining stitch, and then we're going to do several rows of just plain weave or tabby weave. Those two are great foundation stitches. The twining row, it's simple, but I really have to pay attention when I'm doing the twining row. But with the twining row, it gives me a nice edge. It gives me a nice bottom and top edge that I really like. It makes my pieces look finished. Primarily, I weave just for the more meditative benefits of it, where it's just weaving back and forth and I don't have to think about it. But I do like, I like nice pretty edges. I let mine get wonky all the way through, but for this one, we're going to try and keep our selvages straight, and we're going to try and have some nice top and bottom edges, and then it's going to be like a little sampler. We're just going to we're just going to have fun and learn some quick stitches, but you are just going to have to be really patient with me while I do teach you this twining row, because it's kind of confusing. To me, it's confusing. You may find it super easy, but let's start. Grab your yarn, all right? And let's get some yarn measured out. And then we're just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and talk my way through it and hope that you understand it. You might have to stop the video often to restart your weaving and start again. And go through the directions several times, but it's all good. It's all good. So what you're going to need for your twining row is you're going to need to pick one of your colors, and you're going to need to measure out 4 lengths and then some extra for a tail on either side that I'll teach you to weave in later. So here's my extra for my tail, okay? So see, that's 1 length, 2, 3, 4, and then a whole bunch of extra for a tail for when I inevitably will make a mistake, or when I don't plan to have enough extra, I run out. So that is what, so there's my length right there. And I'm going to divide, okay? I'm going to take and I'm going to find the middle of that, and I'm going to do it in half like this, okay? I'm going to tie a really, I don't know what kind of knot you call this, overhand knot maybe, but you see how it makes a little X there, and then you're going to feed this in through here. There's really no right or wrong to this. If you just tie a knot, it doesn't matter. You just want to get something on there, because what this knot is going to do is since we're working, twining is wrapping these warp threads. So we need threads on the bottom and threads on the top, but it's one big long piece of yarn. So we need the knot to keep it from pulling out every time we weave with it. It won't, that's not the way we're going to do the rest of it, but for this row, that's the way we do it. Okay, so in order to help you see what I'm doing, I just took that green thread and I cut it in half where it was knotted here. I added a yellow thread just so you can see the 2 different colors as I work with this. So just pretend this is all that one big green piece. I just divided it into a dark and a light color so that you'll be able to see what I do a little bit better. Okay, so what you're going to do is we need to get one of these threads wrapped around this first warp string. So I'm just going to take the yellow, all right, and I'm going to push it under that first warp string. So see now, all right, you see now you can't pull it through, all right. Now I have the yellow going under the warp, and the green is laying on top of that warp thread. So we are going to wrap each one of these threads with this twining stitch, okay? So the best way for me to do it is to divide them up like this, okay? The bottom thread is on the top, and the thread that's on the top of the warp is on the bottom. I'm going to turn around now. I'm going to take the bottom thread that's on the top, I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to take the top thread, I'm going to wrap this next warp thread, I'm going to pull it out. Now it's the thread that's underneath that warp string. I'm going to take the thread that's on the top, I'm going to make an X over, I'm going to cross it over again. I'm on my third warp string now. I'm going to put the yellow underneath it, okay? Now it's on the bottom, all right? So I'm basically making an X over these threads. I'm on the fourth now, okay? There we go, all right? I'm going to make my X. I'm going to pull the bottom up. There we go, like that, right? See how I'm just making an X? I'm making my X. I'm going under the next warp thread. All right. I'm making my X. I'm going under the next warp thread. Okay. Bottom thread to the top, make my X. Bottom thread over the top and make my X. Bottom over the top, 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 and the row is done, okay? So essentially you're making, you're making a row of, you're weaving a row that twines or wraps around each individual warp thread. All right, I'm gonna push it down. All right, there I go. There is my first row, and for this row, I'm going to tie it off right here. I will weave these ends back in when I'm done, but I'm just going to tie a little knot right here. I don't want to pull too tight because you really don't want to get these, these are selvage edges, okay? You don't want them to hourglass in like that when you're trying to weave, a piece that has good uniform sides. So you're just going to tie a very loose knot. Okay, tie a very loose, not a loose knot, but a knot that doesn't pull on the sides. Okay, and then we're just going to leave this. I might just tuck it in under the loom. All right. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do, and it looks like I'm not going to have time with this video, but when we come back, we'll start a row of tabby weaving. Okay, so there's your twining row. This row you can actually, if you had your yarn you cut even longer, you could turn and you could continue in this way. I make larger rag rugs using the twining method, but it's easier when I'm going really fast, like in making the rug with the bigger pieces of fabric. I don't get as confused. I don't know why this confuses me every time, but I mess it up every time, so I'm surprised I didn't this time. Okay, so in our next video, we're going to just simply it's going to be a quick video showing some of our tabby weaving stitches. All right, thanks. Bye.